Hi, I'm Ellie, and this is your weekly theatre news recap, the only place to get your theatre news. This is the only one. I am the only news channel. If you have heard any of these news stories before this video, you are incorrect. I am the original source. I'm just kidding, but this is the most chaotic way to get your news, and if you want that news weekly to catch up on all of the West End and UK touring theatre news, make sure you hit subscribe because I do these every single week. Now, let's start, as we always do, with our casting news. This week was fairly busy. There's a lot of miscellaneous news as well. That was the biggest surprise. Normally there's like one story, but this week there's like a bajillion. This was a busy week, so strap in, get ready, and we're going to start with Next to Normal. Now you may be thinking, Ellie, we've already know the cast to Next to Normal. I say to you, because we don't know the understudies and the standbys. What's that? We now know, and I will tell you. Let me tell you. Joining the main cast to understudy the roles in Next to Normal for this run will be Caroline Maitland, who is standby Diana, having previously played the role at the Donmar warehouse, standing by to be the understudy, to save the day, and all that jazz. She did it, and she's doing it again. Alongside new cast members, Ben Heathcote as standby Dan, Dr. Madden, and Dr. Fine, Lizzie Parker as standby Natalie, and Jake Reynolds as standby Gabe and Henry. I'm really excited to see Next to Normal back. I can't wait. I'm very excited. I'm hyped up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for it to be back. We've had too long waiting for it. It is time. Next up, we're heading over to the MOUSETRAP, going into, I think, what is their 72nd year in the West End. And they have not only gained a new cast, but also a new director. So let's start with the new cast members, who are Lucy Doyle as Molly Ralston, Daniel Sheck-Lucas as Giles Ralston, we have Linton Appleton as Christopher Wren, Jules Melvin as Mrs. Boyle, Ben Olawuke as Major Metcalf, Lorenzo Martelli as Mr. Paravincini, Sam Stufford as Detective Sergeant Trotter, and our understudies who will be in the description down below. And as I said, yes, this production has received a new director, who is Philip Franks, whose previous West End credits include Dear Lupin, Taking Sides, Collaboration, and many, many more plays. A very established director who is establishing his place directing The MOUSETRAP. Next up, we have Title of Show, a musical that is finally coming to London and only doing 2 days, which means I probably can't see it. And I'm mad about that. This is running at the Phoenix Arts Club on the 2nd and the 3rd of July, with performances at 7 and 9 p.m. And we have our cast, which includes some really exciting names here. We have George Crawford, who you may know from Newsies, as Hunter, Abby Budden, who is playing Heidi, Mary Moore, who's playing Susan, and Thomas Oxley, who is playing Jeff. And then we also have covers who will be in the description down below. I want to go and see this really badly. I don't think I'm going to be able to, and that makes me mad. I really love Title of Show. It's this witty, weird musical within a musical. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I'd highly recommend it, and I hope this production is so good that they finally transfer it to somewhere where they can have a longer run, or bring it back to the Phoenix Arts Club. I do like the Phoenix Arts Club. It's a nice venue, and I'm going there. The day that when you are watching this video, I am going to be at the Phoenix Arts Club for my friend's show, for Mickey Joe Theatre's show, which is weird and wild, and that's really exciting. So yay to the Phoenix Arts Club. Next up, Oliver. Now, we've already had a lot of the casting for Oliver, but now we have just everyone else. They announced like 5 cast members, and now everyone else is here. And honestly, some of these names, inspired casting. We have Oscar Colin Murray as Mr. Bumble. When I say genius, I mean genius. We have Katie Stacey-Coombe as Widow Corney, another great casting choice. I saw Katie as Madame Thénardier. And that's a very similar role. Those roles are 2 peas in a pod. Oh, she's going to be great. Stephen Matthews is going to be playing Mr. Sowerberry, and Jamie Burkett is playing Mrs. Sowerberry. Who is our Oliver Twist? Well, it's being shared between a few young actors who include Kian Eagle Service, Raphael Kornitz, and Jack Philpott. We also have all of our younger cast members, our ensemble, different alternates for roles in the description down below. This cast seemingly are doing both of the venues. They're doing out of town and then transferring into the West End. So if you catch this show at the Festival Theatre or if you catch it at the Gilgood Theatre, you should be seeing this cast, I think. Yes. Next up, your Lion April. We got the announcement of the cast. As we expected, we have seen a lot of returns from the concert version, which honestly, I'm very pleased about. I think that cast were extremely strong. And so, returning to the show are Zhong Zi Wang as Kosei, Rachel Claire Chan as Tsubaki, Dean John Wilson as Watari, and they're being joined by Mia Kobayashi, who is making her professional debut as Kaori. I'm really excited to see this show and how it's grown in the short amount of time from the concert to this fully formed production. I'm wondering how much they're going to take from previous productions of this show, whether we're seeing something completely new. I'm quite excited. I don't quite know what to expect, especially knowing how quick this jump is from concert to full production. It's exciting. It's really exciting. And I guess we're just going to wait and see. Next up, we have the announcement. This is kind of concert. I should have put this into concert, but actually, I can. Yeah, let's just move on to concerts. This is the last story in this section. This can start concerts now. We have Roles Will Never Play. After a year-long break, the hit concert series Roles Will Never Play is returning to the West End for one night only. This is happening on the 1st of July at the Lyric Theatre, currently home to Hadestown, and will feature so many incredible West End theatrical talents. And honestly, this lineup is so big, I don't even know if I should list everyone, but I'm going to try my best. Let's go. We have Roshani Abbey, Piers Barron, Luke Bayer, Lauren Byrne, Davina De Campo, legend, Desdemona Caffabel, Lauren Dorks, Liam Dean, Tom Duern, Jacob Fowler, Charlene Hector, Evelyn Hoskins, Hannah Lauver, Michael Mather, Karen Mavan-Ducur, Rianne Louise Mikulski, Nick McLean, Eve Norris, Tom Scallon, Daniel Steers, May Tever, Tobias Turley, Rodney Vubya, and Rebecca Wicks. Talent across the board. That is a lot of talented people who are going to show off their talents in roles that they would never play, but are sure talented enough to play. Next up in concert news, we have more casting for Oklahoma. This production has previously announced that Phil Dunster will be starring as Curly, Zizi Stralin will be starring as Laurie, and joining them are Christina Bianco as Adu Annie, Camp Choice, I am here, I am sat. Jordan Shaw as Will Parker. Joanna Riding as Aunt Ella. Great choice as well. Tosh Wenango Maud as Judd Fry. I hadn't read this before. I didn't read this. I did not read the Tosh as Judd. That is... Oh. Irvine Iqbal as Ali, Nicole Lizzie Baisden as Gertie, and Sebastian Torquia as Andrew. This looks like a very solid cast. This is a cast that I would say could likely play these roles in a full production. This isn't really this is fantastic casting. Some people who are born to play these roles. I'm really excited. This could lead into something great. I am ready. I am sat. And talking about productions that I should be sat at, Marisha Wallace is doing her biggest concert yet. She is returning to where she starred in Waitress, the Adelphi Theatre, to play the West End venue on Tuesday, the 11th of March, 2025. That is my birthday. Marisha Wallace is a star, a talent, and I want to be there. I especially want to be there because it's my birthday. And what better way to celebrate your birthday than to celebrate Marisha Wallace and her phenomenal track record in British theatre and theatre beyond Britain. Mostly Broadway. She is American after all. And now we move on to what is weirdly the biggest section of this week, miscellaneous news. I did not expect this week's most busy topic to be miscellaneous news, but let's dive into miscellaneous news. Starting with the really sad announcement that came earlier this week that took us all by surprise. The Bonnie and Clyde tour has closed. They officially cancelled the rest of their tour on the morning of their press night in Southend. They took about 15 venues off sale the day of this announcement. And this is so sad. It's not only sad for people who don't get to experience it, but also to just suddenly lose your job like that. Going to the theatre the morning of expecting to put on a performance that night and just being told that the rest of the tour isn't happening is really, you can barely even imagine it. My heart massively goes out to the people in that cast, and unfortunately, as we found out after the fact, the people who were meant to be joining the show in September were not told about this fact. And that is a really gross oversight from this team of producers. But the venues that were cancelled were Southend, Belfast, Bradford, Milton Keynes, Blackpool, Edinburgh, Cheltenham, Dublin, Brighton, Portsmouth, High Wycombe, Newcastle, Sheffield, Bromley, and Northampton. That is a lot of tour stops to take off in one fell swoop. I think they went into this tour a little bit early. We just come off of the concerts. We went straight into 2 West End runs. It was probably likely that we just needed a little bit more time away from Bonnie and Clyde before they could launch this big of a tour. It was a big tour and a big risk to go with. But I can't think of the last time we've seen a closure as drastic as this. We've seen multiple times shows close early and have shorter runs than expected, but most of these will just cut off the run to a certain point. They're cut off 3 months, and there'll still be about 3 or 4 weeks left to go until that new closure date. I can't think of the last time a show has announced closure and closed on the same date. This is so sad to see for everyone involved on that team, for everyone who was going to be involved in that team. It's really, really sad to see. And I hope in the future Bonnie and Clyde can return and have the successful tour it deserves. Next up, in much lighter news, just something really quickly, Stranger Things has announced an extension to February 2025. This show, I don't think it's going to go anywhere for a little while. I'm surprised it hasn't extended further. A lot more of the long-running West End shows have extended to, like, the middle of 2025, so I was fully expecting Stranger Things to expand its run a lot further than that, but still, you've got a lot more time to go and see Stranger Things in the West End. And, actually, something I found out yesterday is that they have switched from a lottery to a rush on Today Tick. So if you want to get cheaper tickets to Stranger Things, it's even easier now. Next up, something I didn't think I would be speaking about, Lego. I love Lego. On my PC, I have a little Lego Dalek. I like a bit of Lego. Lego's cute, it's fun to build. And I think our prayers have been answered because we are getting 4 Lego sets based on the upcoming Wicked film, which will be released in October. Now, sadly, these aren't the typical Lego that you might be expecting. These are the mini doll styles, a bit more like the Lego Friends brand, or a lot of the Disney ones that have come out. But still, I think it's really great that we're seeing the Wickedfication of the market. We're getting so much new merch, collaborations between Wicked and loads of different brands. Lego is not the only one. They're also doing Build-A-Bear. They're also working with H&M. We're seeing so many brands collaborate with Wicked, and that's a really great precedent to set, especially because, you know, when you think about musicals and collaborating with bigger brands, there's not that many wider examples that you can point to. So if this does go well, hopefully that will give the message to these brands that there is a clear want and need for more mainstream theatre merch. Next up, we have NT at Home, which has announced 3 extra shows going to their streaming service. These are all productions that have recently been at the National Theatre. We have The Stars Come Down, which will be on the service from the 11th of June. We have Dear Octopus, which will be on the service from the 12th of July. And we have Underdog, which will be on the service from the 9th of August. So if you want to get more pro shots streamed directly to your home, you can sign up for NT Live and expect those when they come out. NT at Home, not NT Live. NT Live is the one that goes into the cinemas. I mean, these also do go into the cinemas, but these ones are at home. And finally, in miscellaneous news this week, we got the announcement that Matthew Warchus will be stepping down as the artistic director of the Old Vic. This is a role that he's been in since 2015, and he has announced that he will be leaving that role after 11 years in September 2026. He is doing 2 more seasons at the Old Vic, and then his time will come to an end. Now, we've kind of seen this coming for a little while, but what's really interesting is that so many artistic directors are moving on to different places. We're seeing a very seismic shift in who is leading a lot of these venues as artistic directors. And I think that is so interesting for the future of theatre. What's going to happen? New voices in these big hubs is always great. And Matthew Warchus has achieved so much in his time at the Old Vic. We have the repetition every year of A Christmas Carol, a show that has become more and more successful as the years have gone on. We've had him work on Broadway transfers like Groundhog Day. We had him work on loads of new musicals like Just for One Day, Sylvia in recent memory. And even upcoming, there's so many more shows that have already been announced that we can look forward to. You got James Corden going there in The Constituent. We have Rami Malek going in there to do Oedipus. There's so much to be excited for going into this season at the Old Vic already. And knowing that there's still so much to be announced is so exciting. So I cannot wait to see what Matthew Warchus does with his final 2 years in this role. And now we can move on to transfers and new productions. This is a long video, there's a lot of news, we're going to jump straight into it and get through it. First off, Regent's Park Open Air Theatre has announced their more outdoor events for this summer, which kicks off with Drag Queen Story Hour from the 7th to the 14th of July. This is a show starring Ada HD and will entertain audiences with inclusive stories and hilarious antics, with shows happening at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. We then have on the 8th of July at 7:45, we have Shakespeare for Every Day of the Year live, which features a star-studded cast. And wrapping up in this announcement, we have on the 15th of September at 7:30 p.m, Les Gâteaux Chocolat will present Musicals Mayhem, suitable for 14 and up. This promises an evening of musical theatre featuring a mixture of show tunes from productions like Follies, Frozen, Sound of Music, and Sister Act. So if you are interested in any of those, you can head down to the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre this summer. As well as all those shows, they also have their main season, which currently has 12th Night, which I managed to go see, which is a lot of fun. A nice queer-focused Shakespeare piece, a lot of fun. And coming up, we also have Secret Garden and a new revival of Fiddler on the Roof. So much to be enjoyed at the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre this year. Next up, Buyer and Seller, which is going to be starring Rob Madge in this play that premiered with Michael Urie off-Broadway. This is a one-person show. I don't know what it is with Rob Madge and one-person shows, but they kind of deserve it because they are everything. This is a production that is going to be running at London's King's Head Theatre from the 18th of September to the 19th of October, followed by a week at the Drum Theatre Royal Plymouth from the 29th of October to the 3rd of November. So if you want to catch Rob Madge in a show that is not about their life, You can go do that. But why wouldn't you want to go see their show about their life? Go see all of Rob Madge's shows. I love Rob Madge. Rob Madge is great. Rob Madge is so talented. And I can't wait to see them in this. They are so funny. And I expect nothing less from them in this production. Wow, this is totally not Editor Ellie coming in telling you another story because I completely just missed it off the list. No, I would never do that. Anyway, next up, How to Dance in Ohio. This is a musical that premiered on Broadway this year and sadly closed quite quickly. But it has been revealed in a reunion concert that this show is heading for a UK premiere in 2025. I'm so excited for this. This is a show that is all about autism, and I really feel like we don't have enough shows exploring neurodiversity, especially in positive cases like this. I am really looking forward to it. I think that over here, it could really adapt itself and could really make it the best version it could possibly be. I am so excited for this, and I'm so excited for the representation that it can provide. Now, back to me in right now, because I totally didn't forget to record this one. Shut up. Next up, Elf. Elf is returning for a UK tour. I'm assuming this is the same production that toured last year, not the production that was at the Dominion last year. This is being headed up by Jordan Conway, who's playing Buddy, and also features Kelly Benlaki as Jovi and Barry Bloxham as Buddy's dad. This tour will be playing at the Milton Keynes Theatre, the Palace Theatre Manchester, the Swan Theatre High Wycombe, the Mayflower Theatre Southampton, and will also play in arenas in Aberdeen, Newport, Brighton, Birmingham, Leeds, Hull, Glasgow, Newcastle, and Killarney. Where is Killarney? Am I even saying that right? That just sounds like I'm getting violent with someone called Arnie. But yes, if you want a festive treat this Christmas, you can catch Elf. One of the news pieces that I'm most excited for this week was this announcement. Now, I was a big fan of this book and this film as a kid, and the fact that we are finally getting a musical version of it is amazing. I'm so excited. Coraline, the amazing book by Neil Gaiman, is getting a new musical adaptation, which will premiere at the Leeds Playhouse next year and go on a mini UK tour, with stops confirmed for Birmingham, Edinburgh, and Manchester. It plays in Leeds from the 11th of April to the 11th of May 2025. So we have got a little while to wait. Just under a year to wait. Now, what is even more interesting about this is that this is not the Coraline musical that already exists. There is already a Coraline musical that premiered off-Broadway in New York. Now we have two completely different Coraline musicals, and I am so excited to make a video comparing the two, because I want to see how they adapt different things and the different songs that come in each. This is a family-friendly production that is suitable for audiences ages 9. I'm hoping that doesn't mean they are going to shy away from the horror influences on this story, because it is scary. And this particular version has a book by Zinni Harris and music and lyrics by Louis Barabas. I am super excited for this. I am really, really hyped. I hope this is good, because it is all I want. I love Coraline. It's so, especially the film, which I think is a great adaptation of that source material. It's so wonderfully dark, and I think that's my favorite, especially with like stories that are aimed for a younger demographic. I love a little bit of like horror or like spookiness that is aimed at a more family audience. I mean, I think that's why I love Doctor Who so much as well. I love that style of horror, creating that perfect eerie atmosphere, and that's exactly what I want in this production. I want something eerie, I want something cute, and I want some amazing puppetry with the final version of The Other Mother. Please and thank you, this is all I ask for. And finally, in news this week, we got the announcement of a revival of Wild Partying. Now, this is not the Andrew Lipper version of the Wild Party. This is the other version of the Wild Party, and this will be opening at a new London venue called Earth Hackney, which seats 680 people in Dalston. This was originally built as a cinema and has undergone 2 years of restoration. Now, this is going to be playing at that theatre from Monday the 12th of August until Saturday the 7th of September and features a heavy hitter cast. We have the amazing Laura Baldwin as Queenie, Simon Anthony as Burrs, Bobby Little as Kate, Billy Cullum as Black, Chamisa Dunford May as Dolores, George Crawford as Jackie. It's a great week for George Crawford, damn. Jade Kennedy as Eddie, Kirsty Foreman as May, Christian Maynard as Phil, Samantha Bingley as Sally, Clyde Richardson as Oscar, Madison Bullamont as Nadine, Lily Pearl Wildman as Madeline, Ronan Quinu as Gold, and Ryan Walput as Goldberg. And we have some alternates and understudies and swings, that's what they're called, that I was bouncing around the actual word that they use here. It's swings. I gave every other example of understudies except for the one that I was aiming for, who are Jennifer Louise Jones and Amber Sylvia Edwards. This is really exciting. I just want to check out this new venue. They describe it so well. I'm down. And that is all of your theatre news this week. There was way too much. So out of that stuff that was way too much, what was your favourite? What are you most looking forward to? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me. It helps out the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on Instagram right now and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. I also have other social links and a merch store in the description down below. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.